Hi guys, good morning. It's Paisley, and this morning I wanted to make a video about self-discipline. Self-discipline! Self-discipline. I think self-discipline is a word that maybe some of us really like, and then maybe some of us really don't like. I have two stepkids that are in karate, and self-discipline is talked about a lot in their classes. And it's described as forcing yourself to do something without being told. So, it's the whole idea of you are in charge of yourself and you command yourself to do the things that you don't want to do in order to achieve the outcome that you want to achieve. And I'm definitely not an expert in self-discipline. However, I have noticed a lot of progress in myself in terms of just being able to get myself to do the things that I know I need to be doing. And so, how does that process work? How do you get more self-discipline, or why is self-discipline important? Self-discipline is extremely important because for every endeavor that you have, I think there's always going to be aspects to the work that needs to be done that you're not necessarily going to be so gung-ho about. There's blocking out the time that you need to complete certain tasks, and then there's following through with the time that you blocked out. And let's face it, I mean, our bodies get tired, our minds get tired, we get burnt out, and we all run into days where we don't necessarily want to follow through with the things that we've committed to do. I wake up a lot of mornings not wanting to go for a run. I go for a run first thing in the morning because I just find that it really gives me a great mental headspace to work with after my run. And it gets me very energized because when I first wake up, I'm a total zombie. Running is good for me. Running is good for a lot of people. What I'm trying to say is that most of the time, if not 100% of the time, when that alarm goes off at 3 a.m., I do not want to go for a run. That's like the last thing in the world that I want to do. I want to stay in my nice, warm, comfortable bed. But I get myself out of bed and I go for a run. And that is an act of self-discipline. Now, here's what's really cool about self-discipline. Self-disciplining yourself in one area of your life can make self-discipline in other areas of your life easier. They kind of interconnect. They all influence each other. So after I go for a run, I come home and I'm ready to sit down and do my thing. I have my own little routine, and I find that on mornings where I skip my run or mornings where I sleep in late and I skip my routine, it kind of ends up trickling into the rest of my day. So it sets the standard for that day pretty low because I've started off my day not practicing acts of self-discipline. So I would say if there's ever a time to really push yourself, it's first thing in the morning, or at least the first half of the day, because that's when our brain is going to be the most awake, hopefully awake if you got enough sleep or had enough coffee. But yeah, it's going to be easier to concentrate. It's going to be easier to push ourselves. I have found that self-discipline, forcing yourself to do things that you don't want to do, especially if you've been doing it all day, like if you've had a very structured, if you've been pushing yourself super hard all day, by the time like 5 o'clock rolls around, I can't really get myself to do anything. And I think that's okay. That's just my brain needing a break and some rest and rejuvenation so I can wake up really early the next morning and do it all over again. So this is important because if you have the ability to force yourself to do the things that you don't want to do in order to achieve the outcome that you want to achieve, you're going to feel good about yourself and you're going to be building the life that you want to live. And you're not going to be trapped in a lifestyle that you're not totally in love with, which I think is everybody's goal, right? I mean, that's what everybody deserves. So without self-discipline, it can be really easy to kind of get stuck in this cycle of feeling sorry for yourself, or just it gets a little bit depressing. Like if there are certain things that you're going for, that you want to do, that you're excited about, you're like, man, I want to get from A to Z. You want to lose, this is a classic example that a lot of people use, you want to lose weight, right? And maybe you wake up every morning and you look in the mirror and you're like, man, I would really love to lose like 10 pounds, right? But in order to lose the weight, you have to do some things that you're not going to want to do, like maybe be a little bit hungrier during the day, or maybe eat some more vegetables, give up some foods that you really love, or give up your morning latte or your afternoon soda or whatever it is, right? Those little acts that culminate to help manifest your goal, those all require self-discipline. And so if you don't have the self-discipline to do it, then you're just gonna probably be feeling defeated, helpless, hopeless, apathetic, right? So that, my friend, is why self-discipline is important. Self-discipline! Okay, so I just want to say also that self-discipline can get easier. And this is why, because human beings are very, very good at forming habits. Last weekend when I went camping, I was standing in this creek and the water's freezing. It's like mountain stream water. So the water is like completely freezing. So I get in the water and I'm freezing, but I stood in there for like 30 minutes and eventually my body got used to the water. And I think that's the case with like everything, if you're in the habit of eating junk food all day and you wake up one morning and you're like, you know what, I'm going to drink a bunch of fresh juice all the time and eat beans and rice and vegetables and chicken. At first, that's going to be like a living hell because your body's going to be craving the foods that you normally eat. But if you do it long enough, you're going to get used to it. So what I'm saying is that your body forms these habits and that you can use your body's ability to form habits to make self-discipline a lot easier. So if you are in the habit of going to bed at a certain time every night, which enables you to get enough sleep to wake up at an early time in the morning, and you consistently go to bed at that time and wake up at that time, and then you consistently leave your running shoes right next to your bed, and you just get in the habit of throwing those shoes on and lacing them up, and then you get in the habit of, well, for me, it's getting on the floor and doing push-ups, and then putting those headphones on and then running out the door and then coming home, and then you just kind of fall into this routine. And so then the self-discipline becomes a lot easier. And maintaining your self-discipline in one area of your life will really affect your self-discipline in other areas of your life. So chances are, if you are very self-disciplined in the morning and you're on top of your stuff, you get done what you committed to getting done, then when you go to your job, or maybe you don't go to your job, maybe you work on your business, whatever it is, you're probably going to be performing higher than, say, somebody who just kind of rolls out of bed late and hits the snooze button 10 times and, eats a donut for breakfast or whatever. So, self-discipline, my friends, is pretty important. But really, I would say just focus on making progress with your self-discipline and don't try to be completely perfect, because we all know that perfectionism just never ends well. Yeah, just focus on making progress. If you've been having, say you've been having an issue hitting the snooze button, or just not hitting the snooze button but still laying in bed for like 20 minutes when you know that you should be getting up. Okay, maybe just focus on laying in bed for 10 minutes the next time. Or don't hit the snooze button. Just focus on making tiny little incremental changes. If you're feeling too overwhelmed, just focus on starting to form those habits. Habits are your friend. Well, they can be. Habits can be one of your best friends, because then you're doing things that you don't really have to think about anymore. You don't even have to exercise the self-discipline. Your body is just literally doing it because you're so used to it. So, yeah, focus on those incremental changes. If you're trying to be healthier, then, I don't know, add in a V8 where you would normally drink your soda. Progress, not perfection.